Okay. Hello everyone. This is Hannah reporting from her first night at Lancaster University, or as it turns out it's pronounced over here, Lancaster. And oh god, it's been kind of an exhausting past few days. By the time you guys see this, it will probably be at least a day or two after I've actually recorded this, because at the moment I do not have Wi-Fi. I also have not had Wi-Fi since I got to the UK, with the exception of the train from London, which only had Wi-Fi, I could get Wi-Fi on my computer, but the outlet was not working, and my computer only had about 40 minutes of battery power left, which in my computer language means it will die at any second. So right now I have power but no internet. That should change tomorrow when I get my internet password and card and all that fun stuff. So hopefully by the time you read this, no, how do you read a video? So by the time you see this, that should signal the beginning of actual regular updates. So this video might be the longest one I do because it's covering several days, and it was quite an eventful several days. To begin at the beginning, that would be August 15th, when I left the United States from Kennedy Airport at what was supposed to be 11 p.m. We wound up waiting at the gate for a while because we needed to pick up passengers from a connecting flight. So we were due to arrive in the UK at 11:05 England's time, which turned out to be 11:15, despite the fact that we were waiting on the ground in the US about an hour or so, because we had thought the flight was going to be 7 hours and it was really only 6. I was not tired at all for some bizarre reason on the flight, so I got to sit around and watch a couple movies, and more importantly, watch the sunrise over the Atlantic, which probably would have been even more spectacular if I had actually got to see the Atlantic and not just a bunch of cloud cover, and if the wing of the plane had not been blocking most of the horizon. But anyway, I got to see the sun come up over the Atlantic. It's pretty cool. So we landed, I went through customs, got my bag, and tried to find the cab driver who was supposed to take me from Heathrow to Kensington Gardens, which was where the Arcadia orientation was supposed to happen. And I get to the arrivals area, which is where I was told I was supposed to meet them, and there's lots of people there with, the signs with people's names on them, and I don't see anyone there for me. I'll get back to that subplot later. So I take out the little travel guide thing, and I'm like, okay, what are the other directions to the hotel? And I find, okay, I have to take a train from here to here, and then taxi from there to the hotel. So I go down to the tube station, spend a good 5 or 10 minutes or so trying to figure out the map, and then figure, okay, I'm just going to go to the information booth. I have never been so glad that things in a foreign country are in English, seriously. So I go to the information booth, I say that I'm looking for the Heathrow Express train, and he says that that's not at this station. I need to go back up to the arrivals terminal and then take a left to get to the Heathrow Express train because that's a completely different train. So on my way over there, I'm in the elevator, or sorry, the lift down to the train, and in there's another girl who said that she had just come in from the United States, and I say like, oh, I just came in from New York, and it turns out she's one of the other Lancaster pre-session people, and she had just been given wrong directions by someone at Lancaster who had thought that she was supposed to go straight from the airport to the university and not to the hotel. So I saved her a tremendous amount of grief, and we decided to go down to the train and go over to the hotel together. So we take the train, we get out at Paddington Station. So then I see a map and I realized, oh, it's actually not that far from here to Hyde Park, which is, in the same area as Kensington Gardens, which is where we're going for the hotel. So I'm like, let's just walk there because it doesn't look that far. Now, the problem with this is that, yes, it wasn't that far, but streets in London is like spaghetti in city form. It's weird and tangled and makes no sense. So you might think that something is a close walk away, but in reality, it probably isn't. Oh, and also we were carrying 3 suitcases and 2 heavy backpacks between us. So fortunately, it was not a hot day because summer decided to abandon England a while ago, it seems. So we started walking in the direction, and Anna, that was the other girl I was with, keeps insisting we ask people for directions, and a few times we do, and then finally I see Hyde Park, and I'm like, okay, I know the hotel is in this direction. So we start going down Bayswater Road, and we don't come to anything, and we have the address for the hotel, so we know where it is, but not where it is, if that makes any sense. So we keep going for a few blocks. Anna gets more tired and keeps insisting that we ask people for directions. Me being stubborn and really confident that I'm going in the right direction, and all that, allegedly, yeah. I keep insisting that we keep going. We ask a few people where the hotel is, and no one knows where it is. So finally, Anna finally made it to the whining stage and insisted that we take a cab to the hotel. So I flag down a cab, and the guy takes us to the hotel, which, just as I thought, is a block away from where we were when we gave up. So I should have tipped the guy more, but I didn't because we were kind of in a rush and tired. So we get into the hotel, and everyone there is really nice and helpful, and the guy takes our bags up to our room, and we check in just fine because they knew we were coming because they knew that we were with Arcadia. So we dump our stuff off, we go grab dinner, we come back and we meet the 3rd member of the pre-session party and Nikki, who was the Arcadia rep who was giving us the orientation. So we get our stuff, and then she says, you guys want to go out and explore London a bit? And Anna, having never been to the United Kingdom before, really, really wants to go out and see places. I have not slept for 26 hours, so I'm kind of reluctant to this, but I'm like, you know what, central London is not that far from here. I think I can survive another couple hours. So we all go out, and Kelsey, who was the 3rd girl, hadn't had dinner yet, so we had to go, hunting for food for her. So we go down to the Tube, which is not air conditioned. The Tube is not air conditioned. They have like windows between the cars are open for ventilation, but they are not air conditioned. What, England, what is wrong with you? Or then again, your summers probably don't get quite as hot as American summers do, because our subways have air conditioning. Come on. So we take the train over to Westminster, and this whole time I've been under this really weird sensation of, okay, where's the culture shock? So I feel like the only culture shock I've been getting is the feeling of wondering where the culture shock is. Because, you know, I kept thinking that I was going to have to hunt for things that reminded me of home. Turns out I can't swing a dead cat in this country without hitting something that reminds me of America, which is really strange. Although, on the other hand, this is, in a manner of speaking, our ancestral homeland, so in a way that shouldn't surprise me at all. But, so, you take the Tube, which makes the same sounds as the American subway in a lot of ways, and then we get out of the station, and then I finally get my knock to the head of, Hannah, you're in London, get used to it, bitch. Which is, we come out, first thing I see is Big Ben, right across the street. I actually have to kind of crane my head back and go like, oh yeah, hi Big Ben. So, we went across Westminster Bridge, you know, walked along the Thames for a bit. Nikki let us go after we got our dinner, so we wandered around for a bit, crossed over the Millennium Bridge right after Kelsey pulled out her iPod and played the scene from the beginning of the 6th Harry Potter movie where the Death Eaters destroy the Millennium Bridge. So that was kind of trippy. So we walked over to St. Paul's Cathedral, walked around St. Paul's Cathedral, went back to the hotel, and Anna really wanted to shower. So did I, but I was also really tired, so I was like, look, I'm going to lay down on the bed. If I fall asleep before you're out of the shower, please do not wake me up. Turns out she had to keep me up for like another 15 minutes or so anyway to see if I could figure out how her converter worked. So yes, and I finally got to take a nap, woke up at what was almost midnight UK time, showered, read for a bit, went back to sleep, woke up when I was supposed to, which seems to imply that I have succeeded in conquering jet lag without having had it in the first place. So yeah, we got up, we went down, have breakfast. They have Nutella at breakfast spreads. I am going to love this country. We had breakfast, went up to the train station, and went on our way up to the north. And on our way up, we were actually reserved for first class seats, which was awesome. So we had, like, you know, complimentary Wi-Fi and all that. But as I said before, the plug wasn't working, and my computer was starting to go on the fritz, or I knew it was going to start going on the fritz in any minute, so I didn't want to risk having it out for too long. But by this point, I was having a pretty major Aspie moment, because I had been around people for nearly 3 straight days with no breaks or time just for myself, and like no internet time, which is my usual escape and downtime from this stuff. My iPod was working just fine, but that was not really my concern at the moment. So also I had Anna insisted on sitting next to me, even though she was supposed to be in one of the seats across from us, which was our reserved seats. It even had like a little electronic placard that said, you know, seat number reserved or available. So finally I explained, you know, listen, I have Asperger's. I have not had any time to myself, so if I'm being really snappy, that's why. I just really, really need some downtime and time to myself. And thankfully, they understood and were really nice about it, and Anna, it gave me the seat next to me back, so I was able to, spread myself out a bit, put my backpack over there. And then, despite feeling like I'd had enough sleep, I got really tired again and wound up sleeping for most of the way up to Lancaster, which is kind of annoying because the countryside was really nice despite reminding me of Midwestern America. Anna kept telling me, when you get up to Lancaster, it's not going to remind you of America. So I was like, okay, we'll see. And sure enough, we get up to Lancaster, and, the whole time I've been in London, I kept thinking, this kind of reminds me of New York. But then I get up to the actual town of Lancaster, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Derby from All Creatures Great and Small. And considering we're not that far from the Yorkshire Dales, which is where All Creatures takes place, that's not too far off. We got here, we were directed to our rooms. Turns out we all have singles, because this is flat style rooming, so we have, it's sectioned off into flats, and we have a communal kitchen and community area. And then we have our own individual rooms. So this is where I'm going to be living for the next few weeks. I even get my own bathroom. The only problem with that is that it has no toilet paper or soap, which I learned the hard way. And it was one of those moments where I am supremely thankful for my habit of collecting napkins from places and keeping them in my purse. Yeah. It was only about, 1:30 in the afternoon or so by the time we got here, but I really just needed some time to just, lie down and all that. So I lay down and wound up sleeping until almost 8, which was not my intention at all, because I had actually planned out to, go out and get some stuff, but that didn't happen. One of the problems with England is that everything closes, before sunset, so I had to go out and go foraging for food. So I walked past. It was a surprisingly clear evening tonight. There were almost no clouds out, which I know by England standards is pretty unusual. But there you have it. I guess I was just lucky. So got to see a pretty nice sunset, despite there being a lot of trees blocking the way. But so I finally found, after this campus is It is a maze. So I finally found Alexandra Square, which is where a lot of the stuff is supposed to be, after walking nearly the entire length of the campus. And I went to the one place that was open, which was a kind of Middle Eastern place. So I got myself some curried chickpeas and a tuna melt. And half of that tuna melt is going to be my breakfast tomorrow morning. So here I am now. I have the start of Lancaster orientation tomorrow at 9. So now all I have to do is figure out what exactly am I going to do with myself for the next several hours until I should go to bed with no internet. I have books. Maybe I should read books. So yeah, and thus my grand adventure abroad begins. Talk to you later.